cleaning window screens for me is a very simple and straightforward matter most of the time. I don't go to a great deal of trouble. I don't sort of normally use a brush or a hose or chemicals or anything. I just use a wet towel and just wipe the thing down. This screen here, actually, you can actually see the dust, and it's quite interesting. The dust is particularly built up from the top down to about here. I mean, it's so thick that it's like there's more dust than fly wire. And that's kind of interesting why it's dusty up to a point. It obviously has something to do with the fact that it's off that window there, which is a double hung window. And since it's the top section, it's possible that when they open the window to let some air in, they pull the top bit down and don't lift the bottom bit up. Normally people would, I would have thought, lift the bottom bit up on these sorts of windows, but they probably just pull the top bit down. And so this has got a lot of dust from inside the house. Anyway, it doesn't matter how it got there. The question is, how do you clean it? So I just get, as I say, a wet towel and spend a few minutes wiping it down. There are always spider webs around the frames. And with these sorts of screens, these wooden ones, they can break quite easily in the corner. And in fact, this one, it's not, you know, it's very easy if you're too rough with them to break them and sort of split the wood. So you have to be a bit gentle. Now, as you probably know about window screens, there's this black rubber tubing called spline, which is actually what holds the flywire in place. This is actually very well fitted, and so it probably won't cause many problems. But when the spline is a little bit too small, what you find, especially when you're wiping down on the opposite side to the side where you can see the spline, you tend to push you're pushing the flywire and the spline out. If the spline isn't sort of holding the flywire in tightly and it comes out easily, you're just going to push it out and push the screen out, making it very difficult to clean. So thank you to whoever it was that put the spline in on this screen. Now, I make sure I run my finger. I have my finger up against the towel between my finger and the frame and the wood. So I make sure I get right in there, and then I use the whole palm of my hand to get the whole surface. Go up and down, make sure the strokes overlap, so you're covering the whole area, the whole surface. So this sort of method works on, really most screens, and this is a very dirty one, so it'll be interesting to see at the end how clean I've got it, and whether you can see that particularly the section that was particularly dusty, whether that sort of stands apart still from the rest of the screen. Sometimes, like if you're cleaning a kitchen screen, this method may not work well because of all the oil and the sticky stuff from cooking that has gotten onto the screen. Simply won't come off with just using a wet towel. And sometimes you actually have to go to the lengths of replacing the flywire altogether. Now, this is coming very clean, and as you clean the screen, you can observe the screen getting clean, and you can observe your towel getting dirty. So you sort of look at both of those things. And then it's probably worth putting the screen on its side, going up and down again, so then your strokes are sort of 90 degrees to what they were to start with. So that'll help you to cover sections that you missed. Now, what I'm going to do now is get a clean screen, so I'll be back in a moment. Sorry, I meant to say clean towel, not clean screen. So I've grabbed a clean towel, or relatively, mostly clean towel, so it makes it easier to finish cleaning the screen, because you can observe, if the towel is clean, you can observe the extent to which it's getting dirty from what you're doing, and so you can observe whether the screen is really clean. Now it doesn't look like this towel's getting dirty, so this screen is mostly clean. Okay, all right, now, so that's the right way, and if you remember, it was particularly dusty at the top, and you could see the point at which it stopped being so dusty. You can't really see that anymore. It's just, the whole thing is really quite clean now. So it's pretty simple. That's all you need. A wet towel is all you need for most screens. Just go over it a few times, and thank you very much. Now, when you come to a house and you see these sorts of swivel clips, and if they're yellow, like these are, I mean yellowish, that's a telltale clue that they're probably pretty old and could be very brittle, because these would have been clear to begin with. I'm pretty confident these would have started off clear. This is how they become. And if it's brittle and it's actually screwed in tight, and it's screwed in tight so that it doesn't sort of slide down and allow the screen to sort of start to fall out. If that's the case, I mean, test gently, because if it is screwed in tight and then you use quite a bit of force to rotate it, to get it away from the screen so you can pull the screen out, that's when you can break it. Now, you might want to just go ahead and replace them anyway, even from an aesthetic point of view, but especially if you've got new ones on you. But if you don't have new ones on you, or you just don't want to go that far, just test gently. Is it screwed in tight? Okay, this one is. In that case, if you do that, unscrew it, or just slightly, and look at that, it just moves easily, and then you can get the screen out, put the screen in, line it back up, and then screw it back in without breaking it. So you can avoid breaking them. Swivel clips are either flush or offset, depending on whether the front surface of the screen is flush with or slightly forward from the frame of the window right next to it. In this case, I'm using flush swivel clips. Well said. I couldn't have said it better myself, although that was me saying that. Okay, it's goodbye from me, and it's goodbye from me.